What is a use case diagram? A UML use case diagram is the primary form of system or software requirements for a new software program under develop. Use cases specify the expected behavior what and not the exact method of making it happen how. Use cases once specified can be denoted both textual and visual representation. It is a key concept of use case modeling is that it helps us design a system from the end user's perspective. It is an effective technique for communicating systems behavior in the user's terms by specifying all externally visible system behavior. Use cases is usually simple. It does not show the details. It only summarizes some of the relationships between use cases, actors, and systems. It does not show the order in which steps are performed to achieve the goals of each use case. As said, a use case diagram should be simple and contains only a few shapes. If yours contain more than 20 use cases, you are probably misusing use case diagram. There are many different UML diagrams that serve different purposes. You can describe those details in other UML diagram types and documents and have them be linked from use cases. Use cases represents only the functional requirements of a system. Other requirements such as business rules, quality of service requirements, and implementation constraints must be represented separately, again with other UML diagrams. Origin of use case. In 1986, Ivor Jacobson first formulated textual and visual modeling techniques for specifying use cases. In 1992, his co-authored book Object-Oriented Software Engineering, a use case-driven approach, helped to popularize the technique for capturing functional requirements, especially in software development. What is the purpose of use case diagram? It specifies the context of a system. It also captures the requirements of a system. It validates a system's architecture. It drives implementation and generates test cases. And it also developed by analysts together with domain experts. This is use case diagram at a glance. Slide. Now, let us discuss the notations used at use case diagram. First, actor. It is someone interacts with use case. It is named by noun. Actors plays a role in the business. It is similar to the concept of user, but a user can play different roles. And actor triggers use cases. Actor has a responsibility towards the deep system like inputs, and actor has expectation from the system, the outputs. Use case. It is the system, function, or the process. It is usually named by verb plus noun or noun phrase. Each actor must be linked to a use case, while some use cases may not be linked to actors. Communication link. The participation of an actor in a use case is shown by connecting an actor to a use case by a solid link. Actors may be connected to use cases by associations, indicating that the actor and the use case communicate with one another using messages. Boundary of system. The system boundary is potentially the entire system as defined in the requirements document. For large and complex system, each module may be the system boundary. The entire system can span all of these modules, depicting the overall system boundary. Structuring use case diagram with relationships. Use cases share different kinds of relationships. Defining the relationship between two use cases is the decision of the software analyst of the use case diagram. A relationship between two use cases is basically modeling the dependency between the two use cases. The use of an existing use cases by using different types of relationship reduces the overall effort required in developing a system. Extends. It indicates that an invalid password use case may include the behavior specified by base use case login account. The pick with directed arrow having a dotted line. The tip of arrowhead points to the base use case and the child use case is connected at the base of the arrow. The stereotype extends identifies as an extend relationship. Include when a use case is depicted as using the functionality of another use case, the relationship between the use cases is named as include or uses relationship. A use case includes the functionality described in another use case as a part of its business process flow. A uses relationship from base use case to child use case indicates that an instances of the base use case will include the behavior as specified in the child use case. An include relationship is depicted with directed arrow having a dotted line. The tip of arrowhead points to the child use case and the parent use case connected at the base of the arrow. The stereotype include identifies the relationship as an include relationship. Generalization. A generalization relationship is a parent-child relationship between use cases. The child use case is an enhancement of the parent use case. Generalization is shown as a directed arrow with a triangle arrowhead. The child use case is connected at the base of the arrow. The tip of the arrow is connected to the parent use case.
So now, let's proceed to use case examples. Association link. A use case diagram illustrates a set of use cases for a system. In example, the actors and the relationship between the actors and use cases. Include relationship. The include relationship adds additional functionality not specified in the base use case. The include relationship is used to include common behavior from an included use case into a base use case in order to support the reuse of common behavior. Extend relationship. The extend relationships are important because they show optional functionality or system behavior. The extend relationships is used to include optional behavior for an extending use case in an extended use case. Take a look at the use case diagram example below. It shows an extend connector and an extension point search. Generalization relationship. A generalization relationship means that a child use case inherits the behavior and meaning of the parent use case. The child may add or override the behavior of the parent. The figure below provides a use case example by showing two generalization connectors that connect between the three use cases. An example of use case diagram is vehicle sales systems. The figure shows a use case diagram example for a vehicle system. As you can see, even a system as big as a vehicle sales systems contains not more than 10 use cases. That's the beauty of use case modeling. The use case model also shows the use of extend and include. Besides, there are associations that connect between actors and use cases. Here are some techniques in use case diagram. How to identify actors. Often, people find it easiest to start the requirements elicitation process by identifying the actors. The following questions can help you identify the actors of your system. 1. Who uses the system? 2. Who installs the system? 3. Who starts up the system? 4. Who maintains the system? 5. Who shuts down the system? 6. What other systems are used in this system? 7. Who gets information from the system? 8. Who provides information to the system? And last, does anything happen automatically at the present time? How to identify use cases. Identifying the use cases and then the scenario-based elicitation process carries on by asking what externally visible, observable value that each actor desires. The following questions can be asked to identify use cases once your actors have been identified. First, what functions will the actor want from the system? Second, does the system store information? What actors will create, read, update, or delete this information? Next one is, does the system need to notify an actor about changes in the internal state? Lastly, are there any external events the system must know about? What actor informs the system of those events? Here are some use case diagram tips. Now, check the tips below to see how to apply use case effectively in your software project. First is, always structure and organize the use case diagram from the perspective of actors. Next one is, use cases should start off simple and at the highest view possible. Only then can they be refined and detailed further. Last is, use case diagrams are based upon functionality and thus should focus on the what and not the how. Use case level of details. Use case granularity refers to the way in which information is organized within the use case specifications and to some extent the level of detail at which they are written. Achieving the right level of use case granularity eases communication between stakeholders and developers and improves project planning. Alastair Cockburn in writing effective use cases gives us an easy way to visualize different levels of goal level by thinking in terms of the C. Here are some use case level of details. Note that while a use case itself might drill into a lot of detail about every possibility, a use case diagram is often used for a higher level view of the system as blueprints. It is beneficial to write use cases at a coarser level of granularity with less detail when it's not required.